Guys,
No.
guys, no bias. Look. Explained in 10 months. Gotcha, easy. Who is this person? Let's find out then.
38-year-old Kamala Harris was swept into office as San Francisco's district attorney, and as she did, she made history.
For too long, we've asked these very simplistic questions about criminal justice policy that offer only two choices. You know, either you're soft on crime or you're tough on crime. And instead, I suggest we should be smart on crime.
What was smart about the Smart on Crime campaign? You're telling the progressives, like, I'm not just going to throw everybody in jail. You're telling people who want, you know, more of a tough on crime approach that, like, I still believe in this. She was prosecutor coming out of the tough on crime 90s.
At a time when American drug policy was incredibly punitive. The idea was that tough on crime isn't working. What we need is the numbers rather than the emotions that are driving a lot of our policing.
Let's build metrics into our measure of how effective we have been with our criminal justice system.
The metrics by which she judges her success. As prosecutor, it's the numbers, the cases that you won.
I did an analysis of who our homicide victims were who were under the age of 25 when they were killed. And I learned that 94% of them were high school dropouts. Perhaps untraditional for me to ask the question, but I did.
She was raised primarily by a single immigrant mother who was a scientist. It's kind of like, what can you prove, not what do you feel?
Nobody is looking to their DA for soaring speeches about the future of democracy.
But I also think that women, in order to be taken seriously, particularly in politics, you do have to show that you have a command of the facts, the figures, the numbers, that you're not emotional.
And so that aspect of national politics has not come very easily to her.
I'm not a dropout. I did not drop out. I dropped out of college, not fucking high school, bitch.
Kamala Harris, a candidate for California's Attorney General.
Your opponent, Ron Gold, has said that he is for the legalization of marijuana recreationally. Your thoughts on that?
That he is entitled to his opinion.
It was very difficult to pin her down about what she thought about things.
Kamala Harris's stance on teacher tenure is not entirely clear.
She would try to say, you know, I'm a prosecutor, I have to remain neutral about these things, I really shouldn't take a position.
I have many clients in that matter, so I cannot talk with you about what we're doing in terms of the case.
Very seldom is she like first on an issue, right? She kind of like checks out the temperature first, sees how others around her are kind of reacting, and then she jumps in.
I want to be...
It's not fence sitting, bro. At the time she wasn't a politician, she was a fucking, apparently DA or whatever. She has cases in that matter. Can't show that you're biased, that you think things should be a certain way, motherfucker. Like, she can't have an opinion. That'd be wrong too.
Very well informed about exactly where it's going, what the potential of my opinion would be before I just express something off the cuff.
She also enters public life at a time when you really didn't see any women of color in prominent positions in elected life.
It was a different time in a largely white political system. She had those ambitions from, I think, a very young age to make it in politics, to be highly successful, to make, you know, lives better for people. But I think she also knew that as a woman of color in positions that had always been held by white people, she wasn't always going to be the one who was out on the front edge. She's not a trailblazer in a policy sense.
California's Attorney General Kamala Harris announced that she will indeed run for the U.S. Senate.
Our new U.S. Senator, Kamala Harris! Woo!
Can you think of any laws that give government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm happy to answer a more specific question. But
That the government has the power to make a decision about a man's body?
I thought you were asking about medical procedures that are unique to men.
I'll repeat the question. Can you think of any laws that give the government the power to make decisions about the male body?
Chat says the draft. Is that true? The draft? If you get drafted and you're a man,
70 months.
aren't you GG? Isn't that your whole body and soul and brain?
I'm not thinking of any right now, Senator.
Kamala Harris really thrives as a politician, and this makes sense in the context of her background when she is the one asking the questions.
They have not asked me to open an investigation.
Can you be drafted as a woman? If you're a woman, can you be drafted as well?
But perhaps they've suggested?
I don't know. I wouldn't say suggest.
Hinted?
I don't know.
Inferred? You don't know. Okay. In your March 24th summary, you wrote that, quote, after reviewing the special counsel's final report...
But I will say that no one...
Sir, I'm asking a question.
What a lot of Americans saw was a senator who just seemed exciting, who seemed willing to hold these men accountable, not let them kind of worm their way out of the questions she was asking.
That was really important for Kamala Harris when she served in the Judiciary Committee. She knew how to turn conversations into really serious examinations and cross-examinations of the folks who were brought before the committee. Almost like a perfect recipe there for her to introduce a version of herself to folks who might not know her outside of California.
I do want you to be honest. I'm not able to be rushed this fast. It makes me nervous.
I think the fact that those clips went viral shows that there's an appetite, right? She is positioning herself as America's advocate.
You had donors, I mean, just busting down.
Is that Congress where they bring people and they ask them questions or whatever? Because guys, I found, listen, unbiased. I find the Congress to be a circle jerk shit show, like a waste of time. Dude, people get brought up and it's just like, it's a lot more about the people asking questions than about people being questioned. I know it sounds really weird because it's a, oh, we asked you questions, right? It's about the person who's being asked, but it feels to me, as an outsider, it's a lot more maybe about the people that are asking questions than the people being questioned. Almost like a show.
Saying you need to run for president.
I stand before you today to announce my candidacy for President of the United States.
Her campaign announcement in Oakland, I think there were 20,000 people there. I mean, it was just sort of insane. Expectations have become so high for her after those moments.
Yeah, obviously does that,
Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record.
The 2020 primary happened in a political moment where the energy on the left and among progressives was very strong.
The 2020 campaign was when her background as a prosecutor was really a liability.
She tried to reposition herself as a progressive prosecutor because that was sort of the hot fad, and it never quite fit.
I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I would never have described Kamala Harris as a progressive. She called herself the top cop in San Francisco, and then later when she was elected Attorney General, like she used those language.
You know, her career sort of predated this idea of what a progressive prosecutor is.
She really had trouble packaging her background in law enforcement as palatable to the base. What you saw often was a candidate who just seemed to be trying to say what she thought would catch fire with the base at that point.
Who here would abolish their private health insurance in favor of a government-run plan? All right.
A lot of Democratic voters didn't feel they were engaging with a candidate who maybe actually believed that. And people walked away not entirely sure what she believed.
She ran out of money and she struggled to break through.
Although I am no longer running for president, I will do everything in my power to defeat Donald Trump and fight for the future of our country.
Joe Biden is officially the Democratic Party nominee for president.
And I commit that I will, in fact, pick a woman to be vice president.
Post-summer 2020, we were in this George Floyd moment.
Biden was talking about passing the torch eventually to a new generation of leaders. And the idea that he would be picking a black woman, somebody who was younger than he was, suggested that he would be picking essentially an heir to the Democratic Party.
I have no doubt that I picked the right person to join me as the next vice president of the United States of America, and that's Senator Kamala.
Guys, it has to be out of context. There's no way he said that he was going to hire a woman just because it's a woman. Probably because he knew who it was and he said, oh, it's going to be a woman or something, right? There's no way that we're hiring a woman because it's woman and not because it's qualified. He didn't say that. Did he? Oh.
And the road ahead will not be easy, but America is ready. And so are Joe and I.
The first year and a half of her vice presidency, not great, to put it mildly.
We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You have. What? Say that one more time.
And I.
The first year and a half of her vice presidency, not great, to put it mildly.
We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
She was given the assignment of leading diplomatic effort.
What?
We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
She was given the assignment of leading diplomatic efforts with Mexico and some Central American countries to address root causes of migration to the southern border.
This is a no-win issue, especially early in a vice presidency. You know, what Kamala Harris is going to solve El Salvador?
Do not come.
To the extent that there are even metrics to determine one's success in this role, they're probably not going to become clear for another decade at best.
She was definitely becoming a team player for the Biden administration, but she was also kind of turning her back on a lot of her previous platform as a child of immigrants, but also as someone who's been a huge champion of immigration policy and immigration reform.
And she is interviewed by Lester Holt.
One of the first major media interviews that she gave, really introducing herself to a lot of Americans for the first time. Very basic and anticipated questions, such as, have you yourself been to the border yet? She could not seem to give a straight answer.
I'm here in Guatemala today. At some point.
In the aftermath of that, there were not a lot of major media appearances for her. That one interview became sort of the anchor that a lot of Americans had when it came to, you know, what do you know about this person?
The difference, obviously, between now and 2020 is the Dobbs decision.
The moment where the Kamala Harris that voters are seeing right now really started to come into being was in 2022 when the Dobbs decision leaked.
The woman's right to abortion has been overturned and will lead to nearly total bans on the procedure in about half the states.
The significance of that is profound in terms of what it means for the rights of individuals, and in particular for the right of an individual to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do.
Through my reporting, what I found...
One more time? I wasn't following.
Turn and will lead to nearly total bans on the procedure in about half the states.
The significance of that is profound in terms of what it means for the rights of individuals, and in particular for the right of an individual to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do.
Through my reporting, what I found was that she was virtually the only major official in Washington who understood the salience of that issue.
I'm not saying W. Are you guys good? What the fuck?
Suddenly, she sees for herself a role in this administration, being the spokesperson for the Biden White House on the issue of abortion. It's something that is very sincere to her beliefs.
This is about people having the freedom to make the decision that is in their own best interest.
All right, unbiased. Guys, this topic is gonna, as my expertise, I just feel like
hello X, my birth.
Modern world, modern solutions. Okay, applying old school shit for the modern world is just kind of out of touch.
I think that was hugely essential for her growth as a politician and just trusting her own instincts.
In America, freedom is not to be given. It is ours by right.
Now we're seeing her in more comfortable settings, especially in the last year, college tours, small businesses, talking about economic opportunity and loan cancellation, climate, and it's those kinds of forums where she really does shine.
My juicer xQcl.
We are not going back.
The speech that she gave in Wisconsin was really interesting, where she almost stumbles into a new rallying cry for the campaign. The folks who were in that high school auditorium latched on to that line and started chanting it back to her. And she realizes in the moment that she has stumbled upon a new phrase. It is specific enough to resonate with people. It's general enough to not necessarily have to define it too carefully. That kind of describes not just her campaign, not just this.
Yo, bring back the time where you're allowed to have an opinion without being labeled as hateful or fucking whatever buzzword. Bring back the time where you're allowed to feel a certain way about something and be able to say that without people saying, fuck you, I'm gonna dox and send a bomb to your shit, bitch. Like, yo, chill the fuck out, man. Like, chill the fuck out, pussy.
Moment, but can describe a little bit of just how spoiled and rotten the vibes were in the country before Biden dropped out, because it's an opportunity for a lot of folks to be re-inspired and reawakened.
The word authenticity is often so fraught with racial and sexist undertones, but you look at the rallies, the talks that she's doing right now, this is a person who's having fun.
The most important thing I love you back.
That ease and
Wait, what's this question mark? What happened?
And rotten the vibes were in the country before Biden dropped out, because it's an opportunity for a lot of folks to be re-inspired and reawakened.
The word authenticity is often so fraught with racial.
I feel like people have to be careful with their wording a lot. When you use things like reawakened, people are gonna call you woke. Okay.
Got cancelled now.
Well, I'm just saying you can say whatever words you want, right? But I'm telling you what the public's gonna think. When you say reawakened, people will just think woke.
Racial and sexist undertones, but you look at the rallies, the talks that she's doing right now. This is a person who's having fun.
The most important thing I love you back.
That ease and confidence with
which
which
she's
currently carrying herself is reflective of someone who knows that the story of her career basically is not a net negative for her.
I will proudly put my record against his any day of the week.
You've seen her kind of embrace her biography as a person, as a woman of color, and she's realized that her personal story is actually powerful and it helps her relate to people, it helps voters relate to her.
She's a complex woman who has complex ideas and is very cautious, steady, not going to rock the boat a whole lot, and down the middle, a consensus person.
So that's bad?
I'll tell you, on the subject of my mother, and I keep saying this, but it's true, you know, she said, just since we were young, you know, you may be the first to do many things, but make sure you're not the last.
Really quickly, before you go...
Well, guys, was that comment a consensus person and not wanting to rock the boat? I thought when you want change in the world, you have to rock the whole point is that people will just want to be under the table and have a stable bullshit, and you have to rock the boat. Isn't that what it means? You have to rock the boat to make changes.
When are you gonna finally ban the retard chatters?
We ban, but again, if the thoughts and the wording isn't hateful, whatever, well, I mean, I think having an opinion isn't the problem. Unless it's hateful.
Do not come. Do not come.
Why not?
The United States will continue to enforce our laws and secure our border. There are legal methods by which migration can and should occur. But we, as one of our priorities, will discourage illegal migration. And I believe if you come to our border, you will be turned back.
Guys, I love politics.
I'm gonna come.
Do not come.
President Trump had a press conference today. He talked about a lot of things. I wonder if you have a reaction to what he talked about.
Well, I'm glad that he's finally agreed to a debate on September 10th. I'm looking forward to it, and
a debate.
Hope he shows up.
Are you open to more debate?
I am happy to have that.
Chat, so we start working on cooking the most legendary bingo card of all time. It's got to be like a fucking multi-card, multiple cards. You choose your cards, you win prizes and shit. The biggest bingo card in the history of bingo cards.
Conversation about an additional debate for after September 10th, for sure.
He proposed two more debates.
Like I said, happy to have that conversation.
Why do you think he pulled out of the debate with you? Why do you think
I am beyond trying to speculate about how he thinks. What else?
Can you comment on some of his other criticisms? He made a whole litany of them today. Some of them are about your...
I was too busy talking to voters. I didn't hear them.
Some of the criticism has been about your vice presidential pick and his leaving the National Guard at 24 years. Vance said that he deserted his own troops or his own colleagues. What's your take on that?
Did he desert?
Listen, I praise anyone who has presented themselves to serve our country. And I think that we all should.
Madam Vice President, there's been a lot of questions about when you're going to...
If he didn't desert, don't label it as deserting. Okay, guys, I don't even know a lot about military, but I think it's more about wording. Okay, if you do something, it's about something, right? Don't label it something else. It's not nice. It's not nice.
Interview since being the nominee.
I've talked to my team. I want us to get an interview scheduled.
Is Chapman said he did? Well, I don't know.
What do you make about the attack on your husband's face?
Thank you so much.
Guys, what is stolen valor?
I'm gonna come.
Do not come.
I'm gonna do it.
Rogan has reportedly entered into a $30 million lawsuit against a massive mainstream news outlet after MSNBC purposely doctored footage from his podcast to make it sound like Joe Rogan was endorsing Kamala Harris for president. First, we're going to show the full 2-minute clip of Joe Rogan and Michael Malice discussing Kamala Harris on his podcast, followed by the 60-second version edited and uploaded by MSNBC, broken down by Tulsi Gabbard.
The thing is, the gaslighting is what bothers me.
Well, it all bothers me. It all bothers me, the fragility of the human mind. You know, that so everybody
then you know what?
was like, Kamala
suing
Harris
all the people
is the
on
worst
Twitter.
vice president. She's the least popular vice
That
president.
made me look like I was
of all
endorsing,
time. And then in
Donnie.
a moment in time, all of a sudden she's our solution. She's our hero. Everybody's with her. All these social media posts about her. Try Googling a negative story on her. You won't find one.
So,
ta-da!
Okay, you've got me started, Officer Harris. They've been doing this live for years. So in 2019, our pal Tulsi absolutely nuked her in that second debate. And if you looked at charts at the time, she's kind of, Officer Harris is doing okay. First debate, she comes out, Joe Biden, you're a racist. The Democrats were looking for an alternative to Bernie Sanders that wasn't Biden. She starts going up in the polls, right? Second debate comes out. Tulsi, being a good Hawaiian, knows how to roast the pig. Just completely slams her.
Okay, don't care. And what was the clip then?
Of Kamala Harris.
She's going to win.
No, she's not.
She can win. She is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas twice. She in a medical unit. She was a congresswoman for 8 years.
Yeah.
She is a person of color. She's everything you want. She's going to win.
No, she's not.
She can win. They just want no Trump, no matter what.
This is not reflective at all of the truth of what Joe Rogan said. And I think MSNBC has since taken this post down. But what's really serious here is that not only does Joe Rogan deserve an apology.
You know what, chat? I think that would be a major win for everybody if he actually wins that case. Even if it's not all 30 mil, whatever, it's a win for everybody. Because that means that if people do doctor shit, right, repercussions actually happen that are sizable, right? So don't do it. Because now this is happening across the board, everywhere, whatever, right? And that was wrong, my bad, I'll delete. Fuck that shit, absolutely not. No, that if you write on the internet, it's written in ink, and you can't just erase it. Okay, dumb fuck? That's what it is. That's what it is. I hope he wins.